Welcome to this edition of INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Alex Klenman, the President and CEO of Azincourt Energy. Alex, welcome back. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And of course, we're talking about a really interesting sector, uranium. Let's just go over what that sector looks like right now, where that market is at, where it looks like it's going, and why you're appropriately positioned to start to be able to feed into that supply chain.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to get on with you and discuss these things. Well, the uranium sector has gone through a little bit of a retracement in the last few weeks. The Sprott's Physical Uranium Trust, SPUT, was denied a listing in the U.S. I still think that door is open. So that might have led to a bit of the retracement. The spot price backed off from 60 down to 53-ish. So we're really okay, but the equities have been hit pretty hard. Many of them are back to late 2021 levels. So there's a lot of buying opportunities. You know, as they say, when there's blood in the streets, is the time that you can make a fortune. So, but as you mentioned, we're in a good place. We're cashed up. We're exploring. We've got two great projects, and we're in a really good position heading into the next phase here.
Well, and the next phase, I know that you're going to talk about the next phase for the company, but also what's the next phase for the market? Because there are an awful lot of geopolitical forces at work right now that are affecting that market. We've had the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We see people, funds buying up excess supply, the increasing demand in China, and also into the United States. Uranium's time is coming back.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, if you believe in fundamentals, which tend to drive everything in our world, then you have to believe that we're not even close to being where we're going to be. I've been speaking to a lot of institutional funds in the last several months, and every one of them is convinced that $100 spot is in the future. So I mean, that's double where we're at today. And I think the mania, or the rush, the sentiment that will come into the sector as spot increases and gets to where we think it'll certainly be impactful. I mean, the supply deficit situation has been looming for a long time, and people have been speaking to it for a long time. So we know it exists. We know that supply has to be found to meet the growing demand in the nuclear space. And as an explorer, that's the key reason we exist, to bolster that supply, to find it and contribute in that way.
Well, you're at a key point in the whole supply chain. As the market starts to tighten up and supply starts to increase, there has to be known resources in the ground. You just raised a whole bunch of money, $15 million. How can you explain or why there's been this influx into capital into what, to some, seems like a high-risk territory or category?
Yeah, no, great question. And listen, exploration is always high risk. We don't, when you're poking around for something, you have no guarantees that something is there. We have de-risked the project with millions of dollars of exploration work to this point. And I think the funds, we have 28 institutional funds that have invested in Azincourt, and that's quite rare for a pre-discovery company. As you mentioned, we've raised significant capital. We've got about 13 million in the bank right now, which is a significant portion of our market cap, by the way. But I think really why we've been able to attract that type of investment is the project. East Preston has enormous potential as an exploration project. We've done the requisite work. We've done millions of dollars in geophysical work, geochemical work, limited drilling to this point, and we've been able to delineate quite a robust target inventory. So I think that the funds see that. They know where the space is going in a macro sense. We just talked about that. So they came to the table, and we're happy that they have, because it's put us in a real strong position.
So what are your plans going over the next year to year and a half?
Yeah, well, obviously we're waiting for our results from our recent drill program at East Preston. Next drill season, which is really rapidly coming. I mean, we're in May already. So, September, October, November, we'll be talking about the plans for next next winter. And we're going to be drilling both at East Preston and at our Hatchet Lake project, which is our second project. We'll probably do at least $1 million worth of repair, plus follow up the significant results that we've seen at East Preston. Things are looking up, and we're going to be very, very active in the next 12 to 18 months.
So are you getting an awful lot of interest these days now starting to buzz around Azincourt?
Yeah, no, we're really well positioned in terms of audience. We've spent a lot of money and time on marketing over the last few years. We have a really big audience, which I believe is a really important thing to have in this day and age. And it's paid off. We've got thousands of followers in social media. I talk daily to hundreds of investors, either on a text message or an email or a phone call. It's a portion of my day, but I'm happy to do that. Listen, we're coming off a significant drill program. We don't have the assay results yet. We don't know what the analysis is of the core that we sent in, but we certainly know that we've discovered almost 2 kilometers of alteration zones, and these alteration zones are a pretty key criteria when finding uranium deposits in the Athabasca Basin. Several big deposits have been found by chasing this type of alteration. We know that alteration acts as a halo around mineralization or deposition. We weren't prepared for 1,700 meters of it. That was quite astonishing, really. So we're really happy at that. Those areas can grow with further exploration, but what it tells us is we're in the right neighborhood. We're getting closer, and in a significant way. So we're excited to see what comes, obviously from the assays, but know we're on to something good. We're going to continue to poke around in these alteration zones and see how much more we have. And when we stopped drilling, we still hadn't delineated exactly how much alteration is present. But these are wide, deep zones, and we're optimistic.
So what's the number one message that you want viewers right now to take away from our conversation right now? Because there's been so much. What do you want them to focus in on as they're looking you up and then reaching out to find out more information?
Yeah, well, look at what I think we have there are a lot of boxes we tick off. We're capitalized, as I mentioned, have 2 active projects. One is getting significantly hotter as we go into this alteration. But also from a macro picture, look, the retracement isn't fun. I know a lot of people, including myself, my uranium holdings are down. A lot of people's uranium holdings are down. But look ahead. Try not to think on the day-to-day, bigger picture here, where we're going to be in 12 to 18 months. And I think that's really the key here. Is $50 spot is really not the end game. We're thinking $100, $120 spot, and that could happen here in the next 12 months, or longer, or shorter. It could happen in a week. Who knows? The space is incredibly volatile at the moment. But I do see. I try to tell people, look, stay focused on the bigger picture. Supply demand will take over, and we got a lot of runway ahead of us. Stay the course.
Well, as always, it's a pleasure having you on because you have an enormous amount of information that you're sharing. I hope you'll come back and see us soon again.
Will do, Stu. Always great to see you. Thanks so much.